This class covers amputation, stroke, and brain injury. So if you look at the amputation data from the Amputee Coalition, and there is a link on Blackboard, you can see there are nearly 200,000 cases per year, and about 2 million people in the U.S. are affected. And not surprisingly, most of these are due to vascular diseases such as diabetes. So we talked about people who have diabetes have neuropathy. If they get sores on their feet, they don't heal and they don't feel them. So many of the people who have diabetes end up with amputations. I think remember that from the kidney disease lecture. So people have amputations, particularly due to diabetes. Many of them will pass away in 5 years, and they also have a high increased risk of amputations. And there is a large health disparity in that African Americans are much more likely to have amputations than Caucasians. And so once again, if you look at the data from the Amputee Coalition, you can see, by far and large, a lot of it is vascular diseases, but there are other causes too. I mean, some people can be born with a congenital defect, such as, if you remember Oscar Pistorius from the Olympics. Of course, he's in a whole nother controversy now. So he was just born with deformed limbs that were amputated. People can have limbs amputated because of cancer, and of course, especially trauma, car accidents, motor vehicle accidents, industrial accidents. So other types of accidents, amputations are common, and of course, military. We can't forget military. So how people are managed if they have an amputation. So it really depends on what's the cause of it. So if the person has diabetes, we want to work on managing their lifestyle with diabetes. Or if they have kidney disease, is that the reason that they have the amputation? A younger person might have a trauma-related amputation, so that's going to be totally different in how we handle a person in their 20s and 30s versus someone who's in their 60s, 70s, or 80s. An interesting concept about amputations is phantom pain, and that people can experience pain in that limb although they no longer have that limb. So it's very real. They don't really understand why, but that does happen. If you wanted to test someone who has an amputation, you can test them, once again, depending on their disability. Is it a younger, healthy person? Is it someone who's an older adult? They may be able to use something like the Monarch cycle and pedal with the one leg that is good, or they can use an arm leg ergometer. If you have people who are Paralympic athletes, if you were testing Oscar Pistorius or another type of high-level athlete, you would train him and test him just like any other athlete. Use a ramp protocol, and you can push them to their max. Walking capacity, 6-minute walk test might work for some participants. Using weight machines versus free weights just to help with stability. And you can assess flexibility in the uninjured limbs with goniometers. So you might have to make some modifications, but in general, it's going to have to do a lot more about who the client is, and also include the type of disability that they have. So, same modes as testing. So if the person can use a treadmill, they can use a treadmill to train. They can walk, they can run. So once again, who is that client? So your basic ACSM recommendations: 40 to 80% VO2 max, heart rate reserve, whether they're moderate or intense, depending on their fitness level. Strength training, definitely, working on core strength, because people who have amputations do tend to favor one side versus another. They're going to have strength and muscle imbalances, so working on core strength, and do the involved and uninvolved leg if that is possible, or the limb. And of course, flexibility goes without saying. Everybody needs flexibility training.